When we feel stressed, angry, or hurt, we tend to react impulsively. While in this state of being reactive, it's common for other people or situations to dictate how we react. Reactivity is a phenomenon that occurs when individuals alter their performance or behavior due to the awareness that they are being observed. A person who's reactive does things only in response to others, and this way of approaching life doesn't just affect one socially, it also impacts other aspects of one's life. Today we're going to be exploring the concept of emotional reactivity and how it applies to your behavior in social situations. We'll also be going through what this entails by exploring simple ideas and actionable steps that will help you notice this concept and prevent it from sabotaging your life. Now let's explore it. Number 1. Don't focus on yourself. The first approach is to take the focus away from yourself and then to dedicate that space in your mind to fully process what's happening in front of you. If you're spending time being focused on how you're being perceived while actively being in a social setting, you're taking away brain power that could be used for managing unexpected situations. You'll also likely end up feeding thoughts that may lead to being uncomfortable in your own skin. Here's an example of what that might look like.
When you were kids and you were building a ramp for the dog and you threw a hammer through a window, you threw a hammer straight through a sliding glass door. Is that right?
When your attention is on the other person, you become less ego-focused and less self-conscious. You also become more present, which allows you to act how you want more freely. You don't want to take this to the extreme of bulging your eyes or making the other person feel uncomfortable, but you want to let those self-conscious thoughts pass by while listening intently regardless of those distracting thoughts. Viewing this approach as a form of active meditation could be helpful, but you also don't want to build it up in your mind as some esoteric state that you need to reach. You're simply noticing self-focused thoughts and choosing to move your focus back onto the outside world. Number 2. Take a brief pause to lessen the burden of performance. In an unexpected situation, you don't necessarily need some witty or perfect response to meet your needs and achieve your desired end result. Those expectations will simply cloud your mind and increase your chances of being self-conscious. Remember, you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You're simply focusing on efficiency to get your desired outcome. Additionally, the burden of discomfort of an unexpected social circumstance doesn't need to be taken on by you alone. There's 2 or more people in the room. If someone initiated that situation, they're also in the position of having taken that risk. They have the right to sit in that discomfort just as much as you do. Therefore, you don't need to take on the burden of navigating the situation to avoid certain discomforts if others are there to take on the burden with you. To at least give yourself the chance to let go of this burden of performance, you want to allow yourself some time to process the situation as it's happening. A 10-second pause might seem long, but if it can help you recenter yourself in a stressful situation, then it won't harm you and can even act as a useful crutch. This is a much better end result than resorting to your immediate fight or flight response, which ends up in you being reactive. The way that this reaction plays out also depends on your conditioned habits and the ways that you've learned to protect yourself in these situations. Number 3. Explore the worst case scenario. Whenever one is in a situation that they deem a threat, their mind tends to play out the worst case scenarios possible and overthink the potential severity of consequences from that event. In some cases, this fight or flight response helps an individual to protect themselves from serious threats. However, in most cases, this tendency can be counterproductive. If you want to decrease your likeliness to be reactive in social settings or in any life event, write or type down a list of all the possible worst-case scenarios that come up in your mind. As a very minor example of being reactive, let's say that you are having a conversation with a stranger and didn't catch what they said. Now let's assume that you have a fear of offending others. The end result is that you may end up nodding sheepishly out of fear of avoiding a certain outcome. Now let's ask a few questions. If the other person did end up getting offended, what would be the worst case scenario? Would a reasonable person hit you? Would a considerate person hold it against you if you didn't hear them? These are all common sense rhetorical questions, but by getting to the root of a fear that makes you reactive through questioning it, you're now able to see the bigger picture, which helps to at least lessen that tendency. Unfortunately, you can't completely erase the discomfort since foreign situations or your mood at the time will somewhat trigger that response, but you can significantly lessen the severity of it. Eventually, By seeing that the worst case scenario isn't a common outcome through regular exposure to the same situation, your mind naturally lessens the priority of the threat, which helps you to become less reactive. Of course, these are simple rules and there are always going to be exceptions where other conflicting rules apply. Additionally, each individual point could have its own video with its own more precise actionable steps. Therefore, there's much more nuance to this concept which will be explored more in the future. Ultimately, by applying these approaches whenever you have the tendency to be reactive, you will become much better equipped in society. So here are the takeaways. Number 1. Don't focus on yourself. Number 2. Take a brief pause to lessen the burden of performance. Number 3. Explore the worst case scenario. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like because I do update the total like count of all the videos on the channel at the end. At some point, I'll be raising the stakes where reaching certain milestones will lead to different community events and competitions. Here's a quick message for subscribers. You can also find a feedback form in the pinned comments which you can fill out if you wish. It allows me to get a better understanding of your needs. If you'd like to join our hidden approval-only community on Reddit, then you can also find the link there. I'll see you soon.